Hello my friends, today in the welcome to the Metal Shop Garage. Today we're going to talk about oil separators. Now these mount in line in between where your PCV system would be, your positive crankcase ventilation tube, which takes excess pressure and gases from the top of your head and feeds it back into the intake and reburns it. So, are these necessary on a stock car? No, probably not. I think some Ford applications are now going to these. I think some of the new supercharged applications from Ford, maybe some of the, I don't know, the Terminators or the GT500s used their own sort of oil separator. But so how do these work? It's really pretty simple. Like I said, it mounts right in line of your PCV, which is from the factory. It's just a straight tube. It just, you know, again, this filter just mounts in line, and what it does is the oil passes through. Any oil that's pulled out from blow-by is what we're trying to prevent here. You know, any boosted application is going to have a certain amount of blow-by pressure that escapes past your rings, past your cylinders. And what happens when the blow-by gets introduced back into your intake is the oil, and of course it's atomized, kind of like a carburetor because of the high pressure that it's being drawn in at. It will, you know, it coats your intake, it mixes with the gasoline, and it lowers the octane. So best case scenario, you're down a little bit of power. Worst case scenario, that lowering of the octane by the oil mixed in with the gas and air mixture will cause detonation, which could cause, you know, catastrophic engine failure. So hold on one second, I'll open one of these up and we'll just see how this works. So this one here that I've been featuring here this one is made by UPR Products, and you can see there's the filter. So the oil and the air comes through here, and it just catches. The oil will catch on this filter and drip. The air will continue on through. The oil will catch and it'll drip down into this container, pretty good sized container that they have here, and won't get into your intake. Sounds simple enough. They work. Like I said, are they needed on a stock application? No, just another gadget, something you could spend your money on, put on, maybe it'll look racy. But if you plan on turning up the boost in your Explorer, you know, if you get a handheld tuner and you plan on turning up the boost, then one of these things is absolutely necessary. More boost equals more blow-by, and you definitely don't, it's a vicious cycle. You're turning up the boost, you want more power, you want more gas, and what you're doing is you're introducing that oil again into the intake, and it's lowering your octane, and you could lose power and cause detonation. Like I said, it's just a vicious cycle. So this one here, this is the JLT unit that I've modified. I got this for the Celine S331. I was having an issue. I thought it was caused by excess blow-by going through the PCV, but it turned out that that was not the case. It was actually, I was getting excess blow-by from a destroyed piston. I don't know if you can see that. That thing is toast. And this was caused from just the supercharged 5.4 in the Celine and the Celine factory tune. Now, I've heard personally of 5 of the engines that have taken a dump, gone to lunch, however you want to put it, with the factory tune from Celine. Now, if I've personally heard of 5, that means there's a lot more of them that are out there. I had to, you know, you could do a rebuild. You need, you know, obviously you're not going to replace, you could just replace just one piston. That'd be the cheapest way out. You got to break into it. You know, best, you know, cheaper as a full rebuild. I ended up going with a built engine, meant to handle the boost. So again, this is the JLT oil separator. They were kind of the first. This is pretty small. They make one with Celine branding on it, which is kind of funny because right here where this top mount goes, it has the that Celine S engraved into the top of it. And then you bolt this right over the top of it so that you can't see it. So you pay more. I don't think they charge that much more for the Celine branded one. I believe it's only $10, $20 more for the Celine branded one. And then you mount this right over the top of it. So silly. This one has a very expensive, from motorcycle racing, one-way valve. I think that was like $100. I put all these Gates power grip hoses, which I really like, on this one. And so that, anyway, that one was for the Celine. This one, I'm not sure. I bought this from UPR Products. I was going to upgrade the one in the Celine, and they don't make one, obviously, for a supercharged 5.4. So I studied all the pictures on UPR's site, and I bought the one that I thought would closely fit it. I believe, don't quote me on this, that this is made for a 15 to 17 F-150 passenger side mount. UPR makes a product designed specifically for the EcoBoost Explorers, as does JLT. Honestly, from my opinion, the UPR one is a little more expensive, but it's worth it. The hose is better, the fittings are better, it comes crimped. But this is almost a universal kit. This one here with the 90 in it, the 90 will twist anyway. The fitting will twist anyway. I can't do this with one hand, but just take my word for it. This will twist anyway, so it's almost a universal. For my application, I'm going to have to cut off one of the 90s here on this long hose, and I'm going to have to mount a straight fitting. And I also got this from UPR. They have a great selection of PCV fittings, and they're like the only place on the internet that I could find these. I needed one. I had a custom intake built for the Celine S331, and UPR was the only one that I could find that had the small PCV fitting for the passenger side of the 5.4. So let's go out to the Explorer and just have a real quick look. Alright, so you can see that I have taken the engine cover off, and no big deal there. You have to remove the oil cap, and then it just pops off. You've got kind of like a little ringed fitting down here that slides over this kind of rubber grommet. Then you have these two rubber posts that slide up into notches up in the cover. So no big deal, pop your cover right off, and there is the factory PCV right there, kind of buried. You can see my finger. That's it right there. And you can tell it's this kind of insulated hose. Goes here to the back. So that is the factory PCV right there. So my plan is to kind of adapt this kit. I'm going to mount this right here underneath, and this cowl cover, it is plastic, but there's two layers of it, and the bottom layer is very thick, as is the top layer, and it's more than enough to hold it in place. So I'm going to mount this from underneath right there, and then I can take this hose here, there we go, and twist it and contort it so that it will plug in to this side and back up here. And then I'm going to take the long hose, and it's going to go in place this fitting right here and up to, I think I'm going to put it so you can't see the lettering. I'll put it like that, and I'm going to have to cut this off again, and I'm going to have to go to the straight fitting, and I'm going to put it right there. Alright, stand by. Alright, my friends, so we're back. Have the oil catch can installed. Not really that difficult. I mean, it took a little trial and error, cutting and fitting, but you see I did have to ease that plastic edge just a little bit. I wanted that thing to fit up there a little snug, but this thing, I mean, I could remove this and you really wouldn't have any idea that it had been there. It is kind of hitting in this area a little bit, but it's right on the hard plastic to this hard plastic, and this one actually is already starting to give a little bit, so if anything's going to happen, that one's going to wear. I did cover the canister with, that's just a rubber coupling is what that is. was a little too close for my comfort to the air conditioning lines here. I'm not getting a good angle. Of course, the rubber coupler makes it appear much closer than it actually was, but this way, if it was ever to rub, it's not gonna rub through the air conditioning line. And I did have to use, that's just a regular, you know, kind of janky hose clamp. I had the nice Gates power grip clamp, but it was just a hair too small. Those things are very unforgiving. You really need the right size. I couldn't get the fitting in there with the, I could get the power grip on, but I couldn't get the fitting in with that power grip on, so I just did the old-fashioned. I'll pick up the right size and take it apart. Realistically, this thing is on here temporarily. Honestly, I don't expect in a stock application like this to find any oil, so I'll run it for a while. I'll get back to you guys. If I find any oil in there, then I'll leave it on. If I don't find any appreciable amount of oil, and I've seen there's plenty of this stuff on YouTube of guys who've run these, and there's guys that run the super canister on the old earliest Explorer Sports with the EcoBoost engine that has 3 hoses and it mounts up here under the cowl, and it separates, you know, water vapors and oil, and they've had almost nothing come out of those. And those are pretty expensive. I think those are in the $300 to $400 range. So anyway, I'll keep you posted on the if I get any oil in there, and I kind of like it. It's kind of, you know, kind of mechanical. Again, it was just a little project, something to take up my time. I had this stuff on hand. I believe UPR sells this, most of their kits that are like this, a basic kit for a, you know, EcoBoost F-150 or an Explorer Sport or a Taurus SHO, something like that. I want to say it's 169, 179 bucks, something like that. Not terribly expensive, not going to break the bank. So as always, thanks for watching, my friends. Have a good look here at the ugliness of the engine, or the beauty, however you choose to look at it. Intake manifold's not that bad looking. A lot of wiring harness and a lot of fittings on top. This engine obviously would be much better looking if it was mounted longitudinally, not transversely like it is. It's mounted like this, obviously, in the Taurus and the Explorer Sport, mounted longitudinally in the F-150s. So that is, anyway, as always, my friends, thank you for watching. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Give me a thumbs up if you feel that this video warrants it. All right, my friends, take care.